there's a lot of scenes and shots that I plan that are supposed to be like a piano sequenza that's supposed to just, a single shot that should take you all the way through the whole scene, or this is going to cut to this shot. Goes to the editor, and they start all over again, and they do their interpretation of things. So I try to at times cover it in a way that I know that they have the liberty or the extra material, that if they want to do something different with it. There's other times where I really want to constrict, because it's such a strong necessity for me for that part of the story that it goes from this to that. So I definitely do consider with the editor. It's just been a very good, enduring, long cooperation with Marc. Starting when we first met in, must have been 1995 or something, when he had a small film that never got off the ground, but we hit it off, and we started with a very, very, very small film, 10 days and $10,000, I think, and eventually worked our way up through Quantum of Solace, and then back down again a little bit, but I'm Machine Gun Preacher, but it's just a really great working relationship. Creative, friendly working relationship. I'd say we both give each other 100% freedom. That we start off where I sort of work the visual side of it, and he guides me. He has visual, like a book with ideas and things that he wants to bring into it, the look he wants to have. And I work with the photography of it and the lighting and setting it up to go with the theme and the feeling that he wants. And then once we're moving and we're on set, we're doing things, he'll request something or change or ask this or that, or I'll request that they change something. It's very, very give and take. And it's a lot of creative freedom for both of us. The first one was really a smaller film called Loungers, which never got released because there were music rights issues. And that we shot in Super 16 in 10 days, and we just went by our inspiration as we were shooting. Everything put together it was planned by daylight and such, because it was all available light. I was doing it with the Dogma 95 concern, but we didn't do any plots or anything like that. Just we knew sort of where we're going to go. It really started with Monsters Ball, because Monsters Ball was our first big picture. It was $2.5 million, and we knew we had 25 days to shoot it, and we had big stars, and we knew that we had to be prepared. So during prep, we had a few weeks, I think 4 weeks. I suggested that we just do these plots like football diagrams, blueprints, because storyboards were too complicated and we didn't have time to do them all. And I'm not really a big fan of storyboards, because coming out of advertising, commercials and things, people see storyboards and they think it's got to look exactly like that. So we sat down for 10 days or 2 weeks before Monsters Ball, did the plots, and he was so happy with it. The next film came along, which was Finding Neverland. And he said, well, let's do the plots again. I said, really? Because it's really tedious. It's actually more work than shooting the film, because you have to sit there in a room having seen locations but not being in them, and remembering and reading a script. So he'll read the script to me, page, from play 1 to the end of the script, and we'll say, okay, in this scene, in this part, I want the actors to start here, and they're going to go, I want them to go over to there, and then to here, on this line, they're going to go over there. And I have to visualize the entire thing and plot out how to shoot it in a very, very, it's like previs without the computers, all that stuff. So it was a challenge, and I said, okay, well, let's try it. And it worked really well. It keeps us moving, it keeps things going better, and the ADs like it because it gives them something that they can show to everybody weeks before we start to shoot, basically where things are going to be, what direction we'll be shooting, and he can plot out the day, the schedule and everything. So it worked out great, and we took it all the way through Machine Gun Preacher. I mean, the people, the producers on Quantum of Solace were amazed by the preparation that we had, and how, we really went through things quickly because we knew what we were doing. Not to say that we don't improvise when we're there on the set and something looks different or feels different, or just something's discovered, or the actors bring something that completely changes something. We go with it. But at least it gives, you know, a starting point that's pretty solid, and it's just endured. I think we didn't consciously, or I didn't consciously do anything to differ one from the other, because the stories are so different. And to me, it's the story that brings the images to me to where it should, you know, how it should be treated, and how each scene should be treated. And the fact that we do the plots from beginning to the end of the film, we know the flow of the film. So it's, you know, we know that the transitions from one scene to the next, not even the strong transitions like in Stay, which are really transition-based film. At least we know where, from one scene to the next, where we're going, and therefore we build in the look all the way through. You know, Finding Neverland, obviously it had more of a classic fantasy about it because of this fantasy imagination of Barry, and where he takes the, you know, with the kids, and where he takes himself in his world. Stay, as you say, very dark, a whole other thing, and that was really based on the concept of what's really happening, whose reality is it, and trying to mix these two realities. So it's very confusing until the end, and even then there's a lot of questions that people, you know, want to see it 3 or 4 times to quite understand what's happening. It's one of my favorites because of, and it gave me a lot of creative freedom in the visual side of things. And Stranger Than Fiction has, you know, again, as you say, the similar kind of about illusion and what is real and all of that. And that was, yeah, that was supposed to be presented maybe more in a realistic way. I don't know if I'd say documentary, but more of a realistic way. But we used very strong architectural sets, buildings, played Chicago as much as we could for the beautiful architecture and light there, to give it a formality, in playing off of the fact of that, you know, is he a real character? Is it an illusion? Yet he's in a very solid, real, physical city environment.